What if I told you that one of the most mysterious words in the Bible has sparked centuries of debate, speculation, and even conspiracy theories? The word is Nephilim. Some people believe they were giants. Others claim they were hybrid beings, part human, part angel. And in modern times, many internet theories even connect them to aliens. But what does the Bible actually say? And why did these mysterious beings appear just before one of the most dramatic events in history, the Genesis flood? Today, we're going to explore the truth behind the Nephilim, what the stories say, what the Bible teaches, and why this topic continues to fascinate people around the world. But more importantly, we'll look at the deeper lesson behind the story, the struggle between good and evil, and why faith ultimately leads to victory. The word Nephilim appears briefly in the Bible, specifically in the book of Genesis. The passage describes a time when the sons of God saw that human women were beautiful and took them as wives. Their offspring were called the Nephilim. Many ancient interpretations claim that the sons of God referred to fallen angels. According to that interpretation, these angels came to earth and had children with human women. Those children were believed to be the Nephilim. Because of their unusual origin, people believed they possessed extraordinary strength and power. Over time, stories about them grew, describing them as giants, warriors, and powerful rulers. But the Bible itself actually gives very little detail about them. And that lack of detail has allowed many myths and interpretations to grow over centuries. To understand the idea of fallen angels, we have to look at another biblical teaching. The Bible describes a rebellion that took place in heaven. According to the book of Revelation, a great war broke out in heaven. The leader of the rebellion was Satan. Once a powerful angel, Satan chose to rebel against God. He convinced other angels to follow him. Because of this rebellion, they were cast out of heaven and sent down to earth. These rebellious angels became known as fallen angels. In Christian teachings, they are often associated with demons, spiritual beings that oppose God and try to deceive humanity. According to ancient legends, the Nephilim were not ordinary people. They were described as powerful, intimidating, and physically extraordinary. Many stories portray them as extremely tall and incredibly strong, but their power did not always lead to good. Some stories describe them as arrogant and oppressive because of their strength. They could dominate ordinary humans. They were said to take what they wanted, land, food, and wealth, without giving anything in return, and those who opposed them often suffered severe consequences. Fear spread across the land as powerful figures ruled over the weak. Violence and corruption became common, the strong ruled, and the powerless had little protection. The Bible describes a time when the earth became filled with corruption and violence. Humanity had turned away from righteousness. Wickedness spread everywhere. People abused power, injustice became normal, and the world became a place where evil seemed to dominate. This growing corruption is what led to one of the most well-known events in the Bible, the Great Flood. But even in a world filled with corruption, one man stood out. His name was Noah. The Bible describes Noah as a righteous man who walked faithfully with God, while the rest of the world turned toward violence and wickedness. Noah remained faithful. Because of this, God chose Noah for a special mission. He would become the instrument through which humanity would survive the coming judgment. God instructed Noah to build a massive ark. It was not a small boat. It was a gigantic structure designed to preserve life during the coming flood. Noah spent years building the ark. During that time, many people likely mocked him, but Noah continued to trust God. His faith remained strong even when others doubted. Then the day finally came. Dark clouds filled the sky. Rain began to fall, but it wasn't ordinary rain. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Waters rose across the earth. Rivers overflowed and mountains disappeared beneath the rising flood. The corrupt world was being washed away. The flood was more than just a natural disaster. It was a reset for humanity. The violence and corruption that had spread across the world were being wiped away. After the waters receded, Noah and his family stepped out of the ark into a new world. A new beginning for humanity had begun. The story of the Nephilim and the flood is not just about mysterious beings or ancient giants. It carries a deeper message. The Bible teaches that evil may rise for a time, Powerful forces may appear unstoppable, but evil never has the final victory. Throughout the Bible, the story of humanity is often described as a great struggle. A struggle between good and evil, between truth and deception, and between faith and rebellion. Scripture tells us that long before humanity faced temptation on earth, a rebellion had already taken place in the heavens. Some angels chose to follow Satan in defiance of God's authority. They turned away from the light and chose darkness instead. But the Bible makes something very clear. No rebellion, no matter how powerful it may seem, can ever overcome the authority of God. Even when evil appears strong, God's power is always greater. Throughout history, believers have seen the world as a spiritual battlefield, where truth and deception constantly compete for the hearts and minds of people. But the story does not end with darkness. Because from the very beginning, God's plan has always pointed toward redemption. The Bible teaches that victory over evil does not come from human strength alone. It comes through faith. Faith is what allows believers to stand firm even when the world feels uncertain. Faith gives people courage when fear tries to take control, and faith reminds us that even when darkness appears powerful, God is still guiding the course of history. For many believers, faith is not simply an idea, it is a source of strength. A reminder that no matter what challenges the world faces, God has never lost control. Through faith, people find hope. Through faith, they find peace. And through faith, they trust that God's plan is still unfolding. Many Christians believe that even though evil exists in the world today, it will not have the final word. The Bible teaches that one day justice will come, truth will stand, and darkness will no longer have power over the earth. This belief has given hope to countless people throughout history. Because when the world feels chaotic, faith reminds believers that God's story is still moving toward its final chapter. A chapter where goodness triumphs, where justice is restored, and where light finally overcomes the darkness. For those who believe, this promise is not just a comforting idea. It is a foundation of hope. The mystery and stories of ancient giants have fascinated people for centuries. Legends, interpretations, and questions continue to spark curiosity even today. But according to the Bible, the most important lesson is not about giants or ancient mysteries. It is about something far greater. Trust in God, because no matter how powerful evil may appear and no matter how uncertain the world may feel, God remains in control. And the message that believers hold on to is simple yet powerful. In the end, good will always prevail. If you believe that trust in God is stronger than fear, and that His light will always conquer the darkness, then hold on to that truth even when the world feels uncertain. Because there will be moments when fear tries to take hold of your heart, moments when doubt whispers that the darkness is winning. But the message of the Bible has never changed. God's power is greater than any shadow, His truth is stronger than any lie, and His light can reach even the darkest places. So when the night feels long and the world feels heavy, remember who is truly in control and let that truth give you courage, peace, and unshakable faith.